Today, me and Tuck are going to share with you something we wish we knew when we first started growing tomatoes. Let's go! Me and Tuck have been growing tomatoes for over 13 years now. It's our favorite crop to grow. Just last year, we grew over 30 varieties. We harvested so many different colors, different sizes, and different variations of tomatoes. Every year, we find a new variety that we want to try. The thing is, some tomatoes are more disease prone and are harder to grow than others. These are often the ones that we want to grow. We thought, is there a way to take the disease resistance of one variety of tomato to, say, Fusarium wilt, and share that with a variety that is more prone and susceptible to that kind of disease, like an heirloom variety? Then we learned about the power of grafting. Let me show you what I did. Back on May 5th, I chose a young tomato plant as my rootstock. Then I made a horizontal cut in the plant with a razor blade. Next, I took my razor blade and made a vertical cut in the stem so I could take another variety of tomato and insert that into the cut. This style of grafting is known as a cleft graft. Then I took my second tomato plant and made a horizontal cut in that. After that, I shortened the stem just a little bit more and then shaved the sides of the bottom of the stem so they came to like a point or an arrow. This way I have more points of contact for the graft. Next, I inserted the top variety into the rootstock plant and used a grafting clip to hold them both together. Then I put some water in my tray and covered the tray with a tall plastic dome with ventilation slots in the top. To start off, I kept those ventilation slots closed to keep the humidity nice and high. Next, I moved the tray into a location in my house that stays very warm, about 70 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and no light. At this point, the top variety doesn't have any roots, so we want to put it in a dark, warm, humid environment to give it some time to be able to attach itself, the top variety, to the bottom rootstock. After about 4 days or so, I slowly started to introduce the plants to a bit of weak light, and I opened the slots in the top of the plastic dome. A little over a week after grafting, the plants were ready to move into the greenhouse. I let them grow in there for a little while until they were ready to be transplanted into the garden. Here we've got a tomato with 2 different varieties on it. I grafted one variety onto another. So we've got the red zebra and the blue cream berry. So this was a blue cream berry rootstock and I grafted the red zebra to it. You can see right where the clip is. I'll take it off here. So what I did was, where I grafted it, I left a spot where we can, it was like by a crotch, so the original rootstock variety is still coming up. So we're gonna have 2 different varieties of tomato on this one plant, the blue cream berry and then the red zebra. So let's get this actually into the ground. So we're gonna plant it right into the wood chips. Just gonna dig back the wood chips, because we never plant into wood chips. The wood chips are just a mulch. We plant into the soil. So let's dig it into this. Look at that soil. Nice worms in here too. Nice sized worms. Mixing some Happy Frog soil. We're gonna take our grafted tomato here. Again, we've got the grafted variety up top there, and then we've got the rootstock variety, which is the blue cream berry. So this should be pretty cool, getting both varieties in one. Mycosan. Get this buried. Take some of our natural soil and just around the base, tuck it in, and then we're going to take some of our Happy Frog on top and water this in. There we go, all watered in. And then we didn't bury the graft. I'm going to move some of our wood chips in, not much though, because we don't want to restrict the blue cream berry one. That's good just like that. And then we'll get our stake in. I want to put a stake in. Nice bamboo stake. Then we're just gonna tie this top variety to the stake so that the wind doesn't do too much damage on it. Take our clip. Just gonna clip it. There we go. A few weeks after transplanting, the graft was healed over well and the plant took really nicely to its new home. As the season progressed and the plants grew, I treated them like every other tomato plant. I pruned out all the suckers and tied the plants to the bamboo stake. At this point, the plants were just growing beautifully. By the time July 1st had hit, the plant had blown up in size and was headed towards production. I just continued to prune and tie the tomato to the stake. It's August 6th now and the plant is absolutely loaded with 2 different varieties of tomato on the same plant. Come down here, look at this. 2 varieties ripe and ready. same plant. I mean, look how amazing that is. Absolutely beautiful. When you track down, you can see here is where I grafted the red zebra variety to the blue cream berry. You just track up, and that's where the red zebras are. One thing that has blown me away is how well the red zebra variety has grown on this plant compared to a couple different locations where I planted the same variety. It seems like the blue cream berry variety has really good disease resistance, and since I use that as a rootstock, it greatly benefited the red zebra variety too. Grafting tomatoes onto hardy rootstocks will help with disease resistance, especially soil-borne diseases. For instance, if you have a variety that's susceptible to verticillium wilt, what you can do is get a rootstock that is resistant to that verticillium wilt. Then you could graft the variety that's susceptible onto the resistant one. Then you won't have to worry about the problem. You could just avoid the issue altogether. When it comes down to it, you could grow tomatoes that you never thought you could before simply by grafting. In my scenario, the red zebra variety greatly benefited from the disease-resistant characteristics of the blue cream berry that I grafted onto. This year, I'll be doing things a little differently. I'm going to start some varieties that are specifically grown for being rootstocks, like this one right here. This is the Estamino variety. It's a strong rootstock that puts a high proportion of its energy into the production of fruit. It also has some great disease resistance to a bunch of different diseases. I'll read them to you. Corky root rot, Fusarium crown and root rot, Fusarium wilt, nematodes, resistant to leaf molds, tomato mosaic virus, tomato spotted wilt virus, and verticillium. So there are so many different diseases that we can avoid just by using the Estamino as a rootstock. There are a number of different reasons me and Tuck wanted to try grafting two different varieties of tomatoes together. The first one was we thought that it would just be fun, and we found that it was. We had a blast doing it. We're definitely going to be doing it more, especially this year. We also thought if you only had a small location to grow, wouldn't it be cool if you can grow two different kinds of tomatoes in that same location? And we found that by grafting, you could actually grow two different tomatoes in essentially the same space. Another thing we found is that there's so many benefits that come to grafting tomatoes. Like we talked about earlier, you can get some added disease resistance. Also, it can help with the overall plant health of that top variety, and it can make that top variety more tolerable to some rough environmental conditions. So, all in all, we found that you can now grow some varieties that are susceptible to diseases that you never thought you could simply by grafting. Me and Tuck encourage you to try some grafting this year. We found it to be, again, so beneficial, so fun. We felt like mad scientists out there, you know, cutting a tomato up, sticking it inside of another one, attaching it, and then, you know, a week later, all of a sudden it's growing. We go out there, there's two different kinds of tomatoes growing from the same plant. Not only was it fun, it was a big learning process, and we just see so many future benefits for it. This guy's in the back checking out the brassicas. He smells the stems of the kale and stuff. He loves eating on this fresh kale stems. You can see these plants are doing fantastic. We're only a couple days away from actually getting them in the ground, and he's looking for something to snack on. There's no carrots out here, boy. If you love seeing Tuck in the videos, make sure you spam some hearts down low for the young king. Look at him. He's trying to get right at these plants. Let's find him a snack that he wants to eat. Let's go, buddy. Let's go grab you something somewhere. That's today's video, growers. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you got something out of it. We got a snack for this guy finally. This is what he's been looking for, the fresh asparagus. He goes over there, harvests them himself. There's nothing like eating some fresh stuff right out of the garden. We'll give him a piece, and then I'll have to have a piece too. A true taste of spring. So sweet, so delicious, and you don't even have to cook it. It's amazing when you grow things yourself. That's why you got to get some tomatoes grafted. I mean, if you've had issues growing tomatoes in the past, this might be, although it's a little advanced, it might be a great solution to make it so you can grow all different kinds of tomatoes, especially some heirloom ones, in the ground and get all the benefits of growing those incredibly delicious tomatoes and be able to avoid the disease problems. I'll give him one more bite. He's kind of begging for it. Me and Tuck hope you guys got some value out of this video. We wanted to send a thank you to one of our new channel members, Tamika Booker. Thanks for being a part of Team Grow. Thanks for having your hand in everything we're doing out here. This guy just won't stop. He's a machine. He loves eating the fresh snacks. He's always out here searching for some. You saw just a minute ago where he was getting a little ravenous, going for all the brassicas. So at some point when the broccolis and the cabbages get a little bigger, we'll snap off some leaves for him and let him snack on some of that. He's always looking for something else in the garden. We had a blast. We hope you guys did too. Don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends, and hit that like button down below too. Tuck and James will be back at you again real soon. We